Okay, so Australia has gotten to the stage where Jewish people are being going to the hospital and they're having to change their names. Listen to this.
Premier, I'd love to ask you about a Sky News story, if that's okay.
Sure.
Why did staff at Liverpool Hospital give Bondi victim Rosalia Schickberg the Anglo name Karen Jones and remove her Jewish identification when she was admitted to the hospital after...
So Chris Minns ain't going to face that one. No, he's put his tail between his legs.
...the attack. And with all due respect, we have heard from the Health Minister on this, and I'd love to hear from you, Premier, about that.
No, he's not going to get involved because it's completely out of order.
Look, I've been dealing with it. I'd prefer, to be honest, it's my responsibility and it's my accountability, and the Secretary and I have been dealing with this. This was an issue where, with great intent from the staff,
Okay, so inside the hospital system, the only way you can interpret what he's saying is Jews are at risk inside the Australian hospital system. The staff know that Jewish people are at risk.
Pretty hostile and pretty difficult environment.
Okay, so the environment in the hospital is hostile? Is that what he's saying? Has to be, because they've changed the lady's name, the Jewish lady's name.
They were trying to make sure that that person was protected in any way, shape or form they could.
Protected from the hospital staff, right? So there's people inside the hospitals that are anti-Semitic people, and they're going to harm Jews. He's saying there's inside the hospitals is hostile.
Was it communicated with her and her partner well? No, it wasn't, and we acknowledge that that could have been done better. I've made...
Okay, so inside the hospital system, without telling the people that are the Jews that are going into the system, they're changing their names. So there's people inside the hospital system that know that there's people inside the hospital system that want to harm Jewish people. That's the only way you can interpret this.
Made that clear. We did that at the time. In our statement, made that clear. We were dealing with it with good intent at a very, very challenging time for our state and a very, very challenging time for the Jewish community.
No, not good enough. Not good enough. This isn't the Australian way. Right? If they can't manage the hospital staff on the premise that someone could kill a Jewish person, then how are they vetting their doctors and their nurses? Well, they're not. They're not. And so the only way they can protect Jewish people inside the hospital system is to give them an alias name, so that there's no way they can be identified as being Jewish. Well, that's real safe. That makes people feel real safe with the hospital system. Oh, Australia, you've gone.
In a few weeks' time, I think on 23rd of February, myself and the Secretary will be meeting with them. I want to hear firsthand from them. If there is an opportunity to make any changes to the way in which we do that, we will do that. What we could have done better is communicate with the patient more and better and fairer, and with her family. Now, that's what should have happened, but at the same time, I want to say that our health staff were doing what they thought was best for that individual patient at the time. It was
no, that's not good enough. They've got no right. Tammy,
yeah?
Do you think the staff at hospitals have got a right to change your name without telling you?
No, not at all.
Right, that's what they've done to a Jewish person.
Yeah, so...
Scandalous. What's going on in the hospitals in Australia? Australia's fallen to bits.
Through any ill that they wanted to
do. Who are these politicians? They're not. They're just talking crap.
At all. That is not what they were doing. And I just want to make that clear, although acknowledging the impact that it's had.
The impact that it's had, it's corrupt. You just can't go and change somebody's name.
view on
sorry,
that?
we're going to have a press conference and we'll go to a few questions.
Can
but
I
I
get
just,
the Premier's
sorry,
personal
can
view
I?
on that?
Can I?
He's really confronted with this because it's showing that they've done nothing, really, absolutely nothing about protecting the Jews. If Jewish people have got to change their names in an Australian hospital to be safe, what's going on?
Question?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Because I'd like to hear from everybody. I just say in relation to this, clearly it was a mistake. The patient should have been asked.
A mistake? It's a criminal offence. You can't change somebody's name just because you fear that one of your staff, people that you work with, is going to kill someone or possibly maim or poison or whatever they plan to do in there. Someone.
The designation, and we'll learn from it in the future. Yes.
Learn from. How can you learn from it in the future? Those people need to be fired on the spot. You can't change somebody's name. You just can't do that. You got no right to be doing that. Can you see how out of control Australia's become since it's let its morals and values slip?
Yesterday that the reason the decision was made was external pressures. Were there any external pressures that were identified at the time, and can you be more explicit as to what they are?
Well, the external pressures was that there was a serious terrorism incident that had taken place.
Yeah, but hang on. We've got a serious terrorism incident taking place at Bondi. What on earth has that got to do with the Australian hospital system? Well, are they saying that there's terrorists inside the hospital system that can, if they choose to, commit heinous crimes inside the system, so they've got to give Jewish people alias names? What that's saying is they don't know what the integrity and the morality of the people in all of the people that are working in those hospitals are.
Back in November.
That's it.
Targeted at the Jewish community. Decisions were made around that time at a local level that were in the best interests of that patient at the time. As I've said, as the Premier said, it could have been handled better, should have been handled better.
No, it's what they've done is committed a crime. It's a crime, viewers.
There should have been a dialogue and communication with the patient. That's something we will learn in a big system like
Now,
ours.
hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. I failed at school and I'm actually stupid. You can't just go and change somebody's name because it suits you. That's illegal. That's wrong. It's like giving you the wrong name to a police officer when you get pulled over in your car. If you give them the wrong name, all hell's going to break loose. Now, the hospital system, wherever she went, somewhere in Western Sydney, has decided that we're going to take it upon ourselves to change her name. We're not going to consult the person or any of that. We're just going to change her name. There's people that work in our system that might want to harm this person. And they're up there talking this rubbish.
We need to continue to learn. So that's...
Oh, how could you if these people need to learn, what are they doing at these levels of authority? Oh, come on. This is just going from bad to worse in Australia. You shouldn't have to learn anything. We've got a system, or we had a system that works. Now we've got people that have infiltrated the system that could possibly maim, harm, or even unliven Jewish people that need help.
General, rather than an explicit threat to the exact patient or
Yes.
direct media contact with
Yes, more general in nature, given what the Jewish community were experiencing at the time. That was a decision that was made locally by staff at the time.
They've got no right to do that. If somebody's life's in jeopardy, what do? If viewers, if somebody's life is in jeopardy, right, inside a hospital, you don't change their name. You call the police and say, we've got people inside this hospital that could possibly vandalise this person or even unliven them. And whoever these people are, they need to be found. You don't just change the person's name. We're not living in wartime, we're living in Australia. Can you see these politicians? The whole thing's out of their control. They've still, Chris Minns, this bloke that keeps jumping out of the way here, he's still got people in Sydney saying global intifada, from the river to the sea. He's not doing anything about it. It is a pro-Middle Eastern Islamic government, the Australian government. They've changed nothing.
The best intent on the patient. It could have been and should have been handled better.
No, the police should have been rung. If there's any doubt as to somebody's welfare and life, duty of care is to ring the police straight away. It's not to just change their name. Oh, for goodness sake. What games are being played?
In a dialogue with the patient, that's something that we've learned. That's something
No, that's something that we've learned. Well, if that's something that you've learned, these people shouldn't be in those positions. Because I'm a fucking bricklayer, and even I know you can't change someone's name without their authority. No, this.
No doubt I'll continue to get feedback when I meet with the family about it.
Is the Premier able to speak to how common it is for a Jewish person to experience this kind of treatment
He's petrified.
in Western Sydney? Is this something that's
Chris Minns is absolutely petrified. He won't come to the microphone.
happening regularly, given the climate of anti-Semitism?
For the family, I think I'd let them have their say.
But more generally, is that a common practice that's happening in hospitals, given the climate of anti-Semitism at the moment?
I think that the designation of a different name is reasonably common, but not universal.
No, it's not. It's illegal. You cannot change a person's name without their consent. That could lead to all sorts of complications. It could lead to miscare. It could lead to wrong dosage. Oh, mate, this is a crime. That's why he's dodging it. It's a crime. It's a criminal offence. And they're just skipping over it.
Typically regarding Jewish patients, is that something that's happening now regularly in this climate of anti-Semitism?
I don't believe so. Nobody would have known, only that someone's brought it to their attention.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
What alias is given to anyone else, I understand at least one other victim was taken to Liverpool Hospital.
We don't believe so. We don't believe so.
He's on the ropes. He knows it's a crime.
Other people who were victims of the Bondi attack?
I don't believe that's the case.
So that's ruled out. There weren't other victims of the Bondi attack who were given aliases at Western Sydney Hospital.
He is on the ropes. So now we've got another politician that's crashed and burned. Chris Minns, the hero of the day after the Bondi massacre, is now crashing and burning because it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. They're still allowing the pro-Palestinian protests. They're still screaming from the river to the sea. They're still screaming global intifada. And you can see this guy is just rattled now. He's had it.
Mohammed Farad is on parole after being jailed for 10 months over a string of anti-Semitic attacks in Wallara. It's our understanding that the state's applying for an...
You can see the people in the background are becoming very uncomfortable, and you can see on Chris Minns' face he's running out of answers. He's been spoken to. Somebody's had words with this bloke from the top brass.
He continues to pose, and can you shed any light about why the state wants that man to continue to be monitored given the current threat environment?
Look, I'm a little bit restricted because it's literally before the court, as in before the court today. But I think I can generally say that authorities, New South Wales Police, the DPP, will take any and all measures to keep the public safe. It's our number one responsibility to keep the community safe.
And you know, probably what they've done is change the guy's name, have they? You know, no.
Particularly in these times, and for someone who has been accused of very serious...
No, he's been convicted of very serious crimes, mate. Oh, God.
Very serious
my God.
alleged crimes in New South Wales that carry significant sentences. There's an understandable, I think, concern from the authorities, from the government, from the police,
and the public,
to keep the community safe. And I just want to make it clear, anyone who's accused of, where there's significant evidence against an individual for committing one of these horrific offences, can expect to have the book thrown at them. We cannot tolerate...
Okay, the Premier...
I don't care what anybody says. One of the primary things of most importance is your name, because they have to run off your records. In New South Wales hospitals, the patient's identifying details are supposed to be accurate, up to date, and complete. That's literally a legal privacy principle, because it navigates all the medical history and what possibilities that might need to be taken for the patient's welfare. New South Wales Health's own privacy manual says that in special circumstances, risk of harm, witness protection, sometimes VIP, staff member, etc., a hospital may use an alias, disguised identity for safety and privacy, and then revert the record back to the patient's real identity later. That's Section 8 of the Privacy Manual for New South Wales Health. It also notes that in risk of harm situations, the patient or police may request anonymity, and that using an alias is often the practical way to do it while still keeping care safe. So yes, an alias system exists, but it's meant for exceptional risk management, not casual let's rename the patient improvisation. What can't staff do? They shouldn't replace your identity and records without a lawful, safety-based reason and proper process. So the process wasn't proper in this case, because the organisation has to take reasonable steps to keep collected health information accurate. If your record is wrong, misleading, you have the right to request an amendment, correction, and the organisation must appropriate amendments to ensure it's accurate and not misleading. If they stonewall, escalate the New South Wales Information and Privacy Commission, Privacy Complaint and or Healthcare Complaints Commission, conduct health service complaints. No blanket staff can change your name without permission. Staff cannot change your name without permission. But a tightly scoped alias process exists for serious safety privacy situations, and it should be handled transparently and correctly. Now they're saying we need to learn. You don't need to learn. They haven't done their job properly.
I bring you a story that I can hardly believe. It involves health officials changing the name of a Jewish Bondi shooting victim in Western Sydney Hospital to an Anglo name the day after the Bondi shootings in order to, quote, protect her, unquote. Rosalia Schickberg had her name changed to Karen Jones on her hospital wristband, on her discharge summary, even on her medication. She didn't give permission for this. She was told by the hospital that they were doing it. A New South Wales health official told the Bondi shooting victim it was done so that media wouldn't contact her. But Rosalia Schickberg and her husband Greg, who I have interviewed, suspect other motives. They remember the infamous Bankstown Hospital incident, where nurses bragged about refusing to treat Israeli patients, killing them, and saying they would go to hell during an online conversation with a Jewish man in a video recorded last year. When I found out about the story of the Schickbergs, I contacted the New South Wales Health Minister, Ryan Park. He will join us later in the program. But his office in the meantime sent me this statement with an apology for what New South Wales Health did. It reads, Southwestern Sydney Local Health District is committed to ensuring all patients feel safe, respected and supported in their treatment and recovery. We apologise to the patient for the distress caused by the use of an alias while in our care.
No, that's a crime. They've committed a crime.
We are committed to ensuring patient privacy is protected at all times and take all necessary steps to ensure it is maintained. All staff in public hospitals are bound by privacy legislation to safeguard patient confidentiality. This may include the use of aliases or disguised identity. This statement doesn't answer the simple question of why the Schickbergs were told Rosalia had to change her name. Now, since I contacted Mr. Park, he has also offered to meet the couple with his head of department, but this isn't enough for Rosalia Schickberg.
They've committed a crime. It's a crime.
Who questioned during her stay in hospital whether she would be safe after this incident, and questions whether she and other Jewish Australians will be safe under their current identities in Sydney hospitals, and particularly Western Sydney hospitals. I spoke to Rosalia and Greg Schickberg this morning. Well, Rosalia and Greg, thanks for joining us. Rosalia, I wanted to ask you, first of all, what happened on December 14 and what happened in particular when you went to hospital?
Okay, what happened on 14, we went to special event Hanukkah at Bondi Beach, and it was very enjoyable day, and we really enjoy ourselves. And I come with my husband, my daughter, and my close friends. After a while, when we were sitting and chatting, we heard some noise. And I get up, I thought it was a firework. And all of a sudden, we heard the screaming, you have to get down, immediately down, so we fell on the ground. And we don't even realize it was a shooting. And it was horrible. Shrapnel hit my head, I was heavily bleeding. Next to me was my daughter, and next to my daughter was my husband, and in front was friends. And my daughter was helping me to stop my bleeding, and I was...
So I'm just going to stop that there. It says staff can change your name without permission. It says there.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I've never heard of that one.
How do you say that? With Ahmed Al-Hamed, he's...
because he...
were you in the firing line, essentially?
Yeah, the shooter was already go down from this bridge.
He was coming after you?
Towards us, yes, yes.
And in wrestling the gun off him, he stopped him advancing towards you because you were unable to move, presumably.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So then you go to hospital, and tell us what happened. Something happened there which is concerning.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to Liverpool Hospital, and we went to normal procedure, and my husband asked all the questions about my name, about my surname, and about my Jewish religion. So I've been admitted under my name. Next day, just before operation, some administration staff came, and she said, "We have to change your name." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "To keep media from you." And they cut my band, and they put me new band with Karen John without any religious. I was
Wheelbarrow pump.
so scared and so upset. I went not long ago through the shooting, and hardly we all been in life. And I start to remember not long ago the two people from Bankstown Hospital. They openly treating to kill Jews when they will come to a hospital. So I was so scared. My husband and my family never left my side. So they took me to the operating theater. I had operation. And when I come back, I was thinking I have to be discharged very quick because I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink. I cry all the time. I was scared.
And what do you think the motivation was? Like, do you believe the woman who said it was about media, or did it? And did she ask you permission?
Wasn't about media.
Okay, so what are your fears in relation to that?
Well, in my opinion, they was afraid of staff, not media.
Attack.
They can't trust their own staff.
That's correct.
Well, you could, after Bankstown Hospital, be excused for thinking that, I guess. We'll try to get some answers from you on this during the program. Look, Greg, were you present when she was made to be Karen Jones? And what was your reaction? Can you take us through what happened?
Well, I was next to my wife all the time. When I heard that her name was changed, I was kind of in shock. I couldn't believe my ears. I questioned them, and I've said that it can't be. What do you mean by saying you're protecting her from the media? I was very upset, and I couldn't see her being upset because she was kind of not herself. She couldn't stop crying, and she said to me, "I can't believe it. We are in hospital. I'm meant to be safe in here, you know, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, my name has been changed." And obviously we couldn't do much about it. And my job was just to calm her down, being next to her. And I stayed beside her bed constantly.
Who did you ask?
I asked the person who came to break the news.
The person. Was that like a civil servant type person as opposed to clinical staff?
Correct.
Did you have any reaction from clinical staff to it, or they were just busy doing their job training?
No, they were busy doing their job. As far as I'm concerned, if a person needs to change the name, they're supposed to ask, and the person who will give them permission, consent to say yes, okay, like celebrities, if they wish to not to be known, you know, when they are. They wish the staff to change their names in order not to be known.
So what's your fear about the reason for it?
The fear, as just my wife just mentioned, that we still remember what's happened in Bankstown Hospital and what those two nurses said. It came to our minds right away because, you know, it's all connected. And the other thing what I'm really furious about, how come the other wounded people who were elsewhere in different hospitals, they didn't go through the same trauma, you know, their names wasn't changed? Why in Western Suburbs, Liverpool Hospital, this kind of situation was kind of appropriate?
And it's because it's a Muslim, primarily Muslim area. It says in Section 8 of the New South Wales Health Act that health service may assign an alias to the patient in such cases as the patient is under witness protection, which they weren't, the patient is under police guard or custody, which they weren't, The patient is a child at risk, which they weren't. The patient is at risk of domestic violence, which they weren't. The patient is concerned about potential unwanted media attentions or visitors, which they weren't. The patient has requested an alias, which they didn't. Court or intervention orders apply, which they didn't. Following a valid request from law enforcement agencies, which there wasn't. Now, they haven't got on there the fear of terrorism. They haven't got on there fear of murder or fear of the patient's life. They haven't got that on there. So
she was taken to Liverpool Hospital because, you know, they had to, there were so many victims, they had to be treated by the
Exactly
entire...
right.
Yeah.
We had no objection to it.
Yeah.
That's fine. We were very grateful to be somewhere, and people looked after her. You know, we've got nothing against the hospital itself.
Can
it's
I
just
say something? In my opinion, the hospital is the safest place.
Or should be.
Yeah, it should be exactly right. When the sick people are supposed to feel safe. So we need the answer why it's happening.
I think this is the answer I'm seeking as well. But we have had an apology from the Health Network.
that's not good enough. An apology is not good enough. There's a breakdown in the hospital system where they're fearing Islamic ideology. They're fearing anti-Semitism. That's not on the list. That's not on Section 8 of the New South Wales Services list for eligibility to put an alias on someone. They haven't got the threat of murder or anything else. The patient wasn't under the guard of the police, she was under the guard of her husband. It's just despicable.
Shown you a statement of
Yes.
apology, and the Minister has indicated he wants to come and see you, as has the Secretary of the Health Department. What do you make of that?
Well,
no,
I don't really want the apology, to be honest with you.
And why is that?
Because we need the action. It's enough being said it and you know, and promising. We need something to feel safe.
Are you concerned, this will happen to other Jewish people?
I'm pretty sure. For example, me and I spoke to other people, and they said, "What now? Jewish people have to be afraid to go to public hospital?"
Yeah.
We live
They
in
do.
Australia for almost half a century. We love Australia. It's never happened before, but last, I don't know, 2-3 years, Australia changed dramatically. So, in my opinion, it has to be something done.
And I don't want to put you on the spot here, but off camera you indicated you would be prepared to talk to a Royal Commission about this.
Yes, I definitely would be.
And
Yes.
obviously that's because you don't want this to happen again. You want to know that, like, I mean, how would you feel about going to hospital in Australia now?
I will be scared. I will think twice. Should I change my name? Should they give me different name? I think it's very, very bad.
So they're frightened of anti-Semitists carrying out their jihad. And I don't say that in the Muslim sense, I say it out in the broad sense, inside Australian hospitals. There you go, viewers. Disgraceful.
When you went back to, when you had kind of almost an argument with the staff, I guess you could characterise it as, what was their response? Did they just keep coming up with the media line? Did they have...
nothing else. Nothing else. It was kind of hard to
Wasn't
believe what
media.
they were saying, you know. It was, to me, it was obvious that the reason I can I can say once again just repeat what just my wife said. They didn't trust their stuff. 100%. We felt.
What makes you think that? I mean, it's
Well, what makes you think that? They changed their names.
natural to think that. Is there anything that they said or did that makes you think
They
that?
didn't say anything about it, but as I mentioned, or my wife just said, what's happened in Bankstown Hospital, which is not far from Liverpool Hospital, and geographically it's in Western Sydney, you know, so obviously it's connected. And we felt strongly that it has something to do. They've tried to protect us. So it's definitely some kind of connection. And perhaps, as I just said, maybe they wanted us to be protected, but not from the media, that's for sure.
All right. So